Hi friends, I'm Jake.
And I'm Miss.
And we're Board Down Under.
We've really enjoyed our experience with Rogue Angels so far. We were kindly sent this prototype version which we've been playing, as well as using the online tabletop simulator mod, which is available for everyone to try, and so I'd highly recommend giving that a go. The components we're using and showing in the footage today aren't the finished version, but hopefully they'll give you a sense of how the game feels and plays.
The game itself is a 1 to 4 player cooperative legacy game in which each player is going to take the role of an interesting sci-fi character, and they're going to embark upon a campaign of roughly 40 missions. The game ships with about 70 missions, however, due to branching narratives and different paths that you can take, you are going to play about 40 in a single campaign. Each mission goes for about 1 to 2 hours. It might be a little longer if you're like us and you like to collaborate a bit as you go through. However, we haven't found that any of the missions have overstayed their welcome.
From the get-go, we were really drawn in by the narrative of the story, and as the game was unfolding, the streamlined gameplay kept us engaged and enjoying each mission. Now, we're in no way strategy experts, and it's probably expected, but most of the missions we played, they really came down to the wire at the end there. So if that kind of tension and feeling like you're on the back foot is something you enjoy, this game might scratch that itch for you. So how does the game actually play, and what mechanisms does it bring to the table?
Each mission has setup along with success and failure conditions defined in the campaign book. The board itself will be played from a booklet, reducing setup complexity, which is really nice, and the mission objectives, enemies and doors will all get placed atop. When taking turns, players decide the turn order. When a player finishes their turn, they flip their activation token indicating that they have gone, and they cannot go again until after their token is flipped back. This happens after every player has had a turn. Deciding turn order after the tokens reset is a surprisingly big deal. It's created many interesting decisions and collaboration points between us, which is exactly what we want from our co-op games.
During your turn, you're going to perform 2 actions. Primarily, this is done via activation cards. Each character in the game has a unique set of these, which defines their playstyle, and more can be acquired throughout the campaign. Generally, these action cards are going to let you do one or more of moving, attacking, or interacting with objects. Moving and attacking are pretty straightforward and partially deterministic based on the card you play. I say partially because each card depicts a number of dice that you will roll as part of that action. The dice themselves have actions or action modifiers on them. Whenever you roll a plus number, you get to add that number to the value indicated between the brackets on your action card. If you roll movement symbols, you get to move that many spaces as well as the action on your action card. And the armor symbols, well, they allow you to regenerate your shield, which helps protect you from drawing damage cards. This adds a spot of luck and can make for some tense turns as you practice your Jedi powers trying to find the rolls that you're looking for. That said, each character does have a number of focus points which can be spent to re-roll, mitigating some of that luck. As well as possible dice, each card also has a set of coloured boxes at the bottom. These are part of the legacy system and allow cards to be upgraded as your character develops. Each character has a personality diagram which will evolve as the campaign goes on. For each filled-in segment within a colour, that character may activate a matching coloured box when resolving an action card, letting you have some more powerful turns.
Another mechanism that I've really been enjoying is the card Cooldown Track. When playing a card, it has a cooldown value and is placed onto the cooldown track in the corresponding slot, or further back if that slot is already occupied. Cards in the cooldown track cannot be played until they've been returned back to your hand. At the end of your turn, you are going to rest, which means moving all of the cards 1 space to the left. When a card enters the 0 space, it is returned to your hand and is available to be played again. This is thought-provoking as you decide when to use certain cards and how to efficiently manage your cooldowns so that you've got valuable cards on the turns that you really need them. You can also rest more as one of your turn actions if you're getting too hot and really need that final cooldown.
While moving about and bopping bad guys on the head is fairly straightforward, interacting with things such as doors and terminals adds another neat little mechanism to the game. When you play an interact card, there's a value on it that you will interact for. It's often altered by those dice modifiers we spoke about earlier. To interact, you will draw tokens from a bag to the value of your action. To successfully interact, you need to have drawn 3 of one colour. If you don't have 3 of one colour, choose a single colour from your drawn pool and return the others to the bag. Next time you interact with the same object, you do the same thing, except you include the previously kept tokens as well. White tokens count as wild. However, if you ever draw 2 white tokens in one go, your interaction stops, adding a dash of push your luck. Once 3 of the same colour have been used, they are moved away from the game, lowering the chance to get that colour for future interactions.
And that's more or less what you'll be doing on your turn. At the end of your turn, any enemies that are on the board will activate, and they do so based on a behaviour AI card that's defined in the scenario. Alternating each turn, either red or yellow based enemies will get to activate. The current behaviour card walks you through how they're going to activate, with the lowest initiative enemy following the topmost activation sequence, and the second lowest following the second sequence. The movement, range, and damage values of enemies exist on the enemy tokens themselves, meaning that all sorts of enemies can act according to the current behaviour card. Some behaviour cards have conditions that alter the way an enemy might act based on something that the players have done. This system has really impressed us. There's something oddly immersive when you put a behaviour state against an enemy. To me, they become alive when reading that they have that behaviour, and because the behaviours are separate to the enemies themselves, they can be reused across the different scenarios. It doesn't quite have the variety and depth that some AI systems have that have, say, a deck of cards for each enemy with specific actions, but it's far quicker to set up and maintain while still providing a fun and engaging experience.
Every mission has 1 or more ways to successfully complete it. There are also certain conditions during each mission which, when they're met, will trigger a narrative cutscene, which leads you into another part of the mission and also just builds more immersion and adds surprises as the scenario unfolds. Many of the choices that you do make during the scenario reflect in the game's legacy booklet, which alters the campaign down the line. Additionally, failing missions may result in permanent scars on your character. If these are ever filled, that character's killed and sealed up into a killed in action envelope, letting you continue the campaign as a new character.
And that's a brief overview of the game's mechanisms. In summary, we think that the gameplay is pretty streamlined here, with processes that are simple to follow yet still provide enough engagement for it to be a fun experience. The narrative does feel immersive and it's well written, so there's plenty to enjoy there as well. However, there has been a little bit of coarse language, and only mild, but a little bit there, as well as some moral decisions that are potentially difficult to make depending on who you are, so it's probably not a family game.
Yeah, I mean, personally, we're looking forward to the production copy coming so that we can experience the full campaign. We're big fans of how easy it felt to get into this, and the narrative involved was just really drawing us in.
Yeah, all in all, had a lot of fun here and looking forward to it coming up. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully this has given you some insight into Rogue Angels and whether or not it's something that you want to back. It is on Kickstarter coming February 1st, I believe, and hopefully we see you again next time.